Hey Star Kids, I got a story for you today. But it's not in a book. It is a flannel board story. And I'm going to tell you a story with these pieces. It's called The Big Orange Splot. And it's by Daniel Pinkwater. Mr. Plumbeam lived on a street where all the houses were the same. He liked it that way. So did everyone else on Mr. Plumbeam's street. This is a neat street, they would say. Then, one day, a seagull flew over Mr. Plumbeam's house. He was carrying a can of bright orange paint. No one knows why. And he dropped the can. No one knows why. Right over Mr. Plumbeam's house. Whoosh. It made a big orange splot. Ooh, too bad, everyone said. Mr. Plumbeam will have to paint his house again. I suppose I will, said Mr. Plumbeam. But he didn't paint his house right away. He looked at the big orange splot for a long time. Then he went about his business. The neighbors got tired of seeing that big orange splot. Someone said, Mr. Plumbeam, we wish you would go around and get around to painting your house. Okay, said Mr. Plumbeam. So he got some blue paint and some white paint, and that night he got busy. He painted at night because it was cooler. When the paint was gone, the roof was blue, the walls were white, and the big orange splot was still there. Then he got some more paint. He got a red can, and he got a yellow can, and he got a green can, and he got a purple can, and he started to do some more painting. And in the morning, the other people on the street came out to look at the houses. Their houses were all the same, but Mr. Plumbeam's house was like a rainbow. Look at Mr. Plumbeam's house. It was like a jungle. It was like an explosion. There was the big orange splot, and there were little orange splots. There were stripes. There were pictures of elephants and lions and steam shovels. The people said, Plumbeam has popped his cork, flipped his wig, blown his stack, and dropped his stopper. They went away muttering, Oh my God, I can't believe what Plumbeam did to his house. That day, Plumbeam bought some carpenter tools. And he built a tower on top of his house. And he painted a clock on the tower. That very night, Mr. Plumbeam got a truck full of green things. He planted palm trees. He planted baboys and thorn bushes. There's the palm trees. Gotta make room for Mr. Plumbeam's house. And in the morning, he bought a hammock and an alligator. There he is. When the other people came out of their houses, they saw Plumbeam swinging in the hammock between the two palm trees. They saw an alligator lying in the grass. And Mr. Plumbeam was drinking lemonade. Plumbeam has gone too far. This used to be a neat street. Plumbeam, what have you done to your house? The people shouted. My house is me, and I am it. My house is where I like to be, and it looks like all my dreams, Mr. Plumbeam said. The people went away. They asked the man who lived next door to Mr. Plumbeam to go and have a talk with him. Tell him we all liked it here before he changed his house. Tell him that his house has to be the same as ours so we can have a neat street. Well, the man went to see Mr. Plumbeam that evening. And he had a long talk with him. They sat under the palm trees drinking lemonade and talking all night long. Early the next morning, the man went out to get lumber and rope and nails and paint. When the people came out of their houses, they saw a red and yellow ship next door to the house of Mr. Plumbeam. Oh my goodness. Look what the man next door made. It looks like a ship. What have you done to your house? They shouted at the man. My house is me, and I am it. My house is where I like to be, and it looks like all my dreams, said the man who had always loved ships. He's just like Mr. Plumbeam, the people said. He's got bees in his bonnet. Oh my God, really? Oops. He's got bees in his bonnet, bats in his belfry, knots in his noodles. Then, one by one, they went to see Mr. Plumbeam late at night. They would sit under the palm trees and drink lemonade. And whenever anybody visited Mr. Plumbeam's house, the very next day, that person would set about changing his own house to fit his dreams. And whenever a stranger came to the house, to the street, they said, "This is not a neat street." Wow, look at all the houses that were on this street. Can you see them all? This is not a neat street. Then all the people will say, our street is us, and we are it. Our street is where we like to be, and it looks like all our dreams. And that is the end. It started off with Mr. Plumbeam's house. And look, each and every one went to talk to Mr. Plumbeam. And the next day, they changed their house to look like their dreams. Someone has a ship. Someone has a hot air balloon. Someone has a castle. And a palace. And even a Parthenon. If you could live in any house you wanted, what would your house look like? What is your dream? Think about what your dreams are and what your house would be like. Thanks for listening, Star Kids. Bye.